Omitakiabi, Mikushibituashibi, Shunkuituashdewi Makiabi. Hello, shake your hands in a good way. My name is Ashley Wilson. I'm from Kakoshtau First Nation. I'm married into Wapaitan, Dakota Nation, Saskatchewan. I'm a mother of 5 children, 3 biological. And I come from a strong family of different lodge keepers. That's something that people don't really talk about or dive into right away, but part of who you are is important. The background story. For my grandmother, her mom's name was Bella MacArthur, and Bella MacArthur was known as a healer, a medicine woman. People would come from all over and visit her, sit with her, so they would get that help that they needed with different plants, medicines, herbs, doctoring. And my grandmother, she was 5 years old when she was taken into residential school. And until she was 5 years old, she was trained from her mom how to pick different medicines. And her grandfather would take her on one of the hills in White Bear. And that's where she was registered. And her mom was registered. She ended up transferring bands to Kakoshtau. Her grandfather would take her until she was 5 years old. Every day they would walk up this hill in White Bear, and she didn't remember why until she was older, but he would carry a chanupa and go up the hill, and he would load it, and after he loaded that pipe, that ceremonial chanupa, he would pray, and then he would give it to her and he would tell her, pray for the people, that good things come, that good blessings come to the people, that the lodges will be strong, that people love who they are. And so at the time when she was younger, she didn't really understand. She said, okay. Until she got a little older and she's like, oh, just a little kid. They just made me pray every day. And then I was taken and everything changed. She said they cut her hair, and all kinds of horrible abuses happened in there. The kids were abused sexually, and she would protect them. She was in there from 5 years old till she was 18. She went from there into school. She ended up having a child, and she didn't talk about things until she was at her end of her life. And she was in the hospital for the last 3 months. She had cancer. And she really wanted to watch that show, that Indian Horse. And at first, I was going to take her to the movie before she got sick. And she said, no. I said, do you have the book? And I said, yeah. She said, is it good? I was like, yeah, but it's sad. Like, kind of messes you up a little bit. Like, you got to work on yourself, process that trauma because you're going to be triggered. She's like, well, bring it here when you're done. So I did. And when she was in the hospital, she wanted to watch it. And that brought back a lot of memories. And she'd share that she protected a lot of the young ones that would go. Of course, you always want to think like you have to protect people, right? You don't know what people go through. And she didn't share that often. I don't even know if she shared that with family. I know there was documentation that she did file her claim, but she never went for it. And it was a lot. It hurt her a lot. It was very emotional. But she just said, everything that we had to go through, you guys don't have to. We're here. I went to El Salvador. I went to protect the children there as I was older. I advocate for them to have their education. They built a school, and it was their own government that went there and shot it down, busted it up. And so the women would go and take the children and teach them how to write, teach them how to read, because when you have knowledge, you're a threat. When you can read, write, code, decode, design, and you understand who you are. Back then it was a threat. Today, not so much. Those are the strengths that we have because of the battles that they went through. So to encourage people to learn how to read and write, and to hear stories of going around different parts of the world, and always encouraging to protect the water, protect the land, protect the children, and promoting education big time. She worked in the university for 18 years as an elder and a supporter, always encouraging people. And I applied at different universities just to check it out and then to see if I get accepted, and got accepted in BC one time. And I was like, I showed her the letter. I was like, look at this, I got accepted to go to BC. She's like, so what are you gonna do? You have to tell your family, you can't just leave them and go. And I started laughing. I said, I'm not even gonna go, I just want to check it out, just to see if I could and see what can I do, because I spent a lot of years like sewing, creating, crafting. The first time I learned how to sew, my son Elijah, he was I think 5 years old. Yeah, and he had asked, he's like, Mom, I want to dance pow, I want to dance grass. He was a fancy bustle dancer. He said, I was like, okay, go see your kushi. That's my mom. He's like, no, I want you to do it. And I designed it. And he had brought out a book and all his designs and the colors and how he wanted it to go. And I was like, I don't know how to sew. He's like, well, you've been sitting with kushi for all these years. Like, just, I need you to do it, please, Mom. Please. I was like, oh, okay. So I had to sit there and figure it out, and I learned how to sew because I had to. So sometimes we need that little push, and that was my push. Like, I had to figure it out. I sewed the first grass outfit for him was by hand, because I'd always get my mom to sew for me, or my kushi to sew for me, aunties. So I had to learn how to do it myself. And once I did, I really fell in love with it. I make star blankets, applique outfits. A big part of the reason why too is the kids they'd like dancing pow. So they're always like wanting to go here, there, and pow outfits are a lot of work. There's beading, applique, all these different measurements. You have to know like the styles, what's in, what's out, and then their colors to honor their name and who they are as an individual. And so yeah, I got really into like beading, sewing, crafting, and as I got a little older, I had started having dreams of different things that had to take place, and one of them was bringing people together and to provide different teachers. They were shown to bring different songs, teachings, lessons, gathering medicines, all these different things, and I couldn't make sense of it. And it was to teach children, and it was a children's lodge, and I didn't understand, so I went and sat with Tantra Arbol Looking Horse, and I asked him, I told him the dreams that I was having, and he had said sometimes when there's different dreams that people have and they really need to think about it and why they're being told and shown, there's a lot of homes that you wouldn't know on the outside looking in. You can't see if they're broken. You can't see if those children are being abused. A lot of children are not being given their language, given their culture, teachings, shown different things so they can be proud of who they are. And so when you bring in these different teachers for the children to learn, many blessings will come, so that those children will love who they are and that they're cared for. We can't go into people's homes and say, don't abuse your kids, no alcohol, no drugs around them. But when they come to those safe places, they'll be loved and cared for properly and given different teachings that will carry them for a lifetime. We did that for 4 years. We had a children's lodge, like a culture camp. Every day we started with ceremony, and throughout the day there'd be different teachings, and things like that cost a lot of money. And so we didn't have sponsorship, and I'd cry, and how am I gonna do this? So I would do big bulk orders of star blankets. I should have learned from my mom. She makes star blankets when she was going to university. As a single mom of 5 kids, she'd struggled to get, ends met. She'd walk across the city in Brandon, Manitoba to go to university, drop 2 different kids off over here, one would catch a bus over here, one would walk across over here. Like, it was hard. The other one wasn't born yet. But one of the things that she did is she'd hustle. She'd make star blankets, craft, all kinds of beautiful things. And I didn't learn. I should have. I helped her, but at that point I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm only helping you because I have to. Because I was a teenager, right? Like, what, 13, 14? But as I got older, I had to relearn. And because I had already moved to Peyton, I had to seek out different teachers. One is Velma, Buffalo, and one is Penny, Waditaka. And both had different techniques. And one was a diamond, like the diamond style. You just sew them and attach them individually. And then one of them was like a strip style. Because there's different style of artwork. And both are incredible. And so I'd start doing the star blankets and big bulk orders for graduations or specials or honorings, different things, just to make the money to cover our ceremonies that we had to do, which was good and it was worth it. And a lot of times when we do things in life, we have to earn what we learn. And that was really beautiful throughout those years, those 4 years. And today, those children that we worked with, we still work with them. And most of them are drug and alcohol free. You know, they're working, graduated, some university, college. So it's really beautiful when we encourage healthy lifestyles, culture to be installed within the youth, the young people. Because a lot of culture was taken from the older people. And that was wrong. That should have never happened, but it did. And so correcting the wrongs that were done in some home fires, like things that are still continuing, but we always tell people, like, break the cycles to create healthy lifestyles and living. From there, we went into different dreams again. And like this year, we had our 4th year for our Sundance in Wapayton. And it's been really hard, really hard, but really beautiful. You'd see a lot of miracles, you know, because there's so many good people in this world, kind, loving, a lot of young ones. And in the lodges, they're filling up with our youth. Most of our singers are youth, most of our dancers are youth, and it's beautiful. And before we started the lodge, the Sundance, we went and sat with Tantra Arbo once again and told them the dreams that me and Bill were having. Over the years, we didn't dive in because, you know, that's a big responsibility. And so we had dreams and shown the location and how things are to be and just different things. So we went and sat with him and he had instructed us with some of the rules that before you begin, because he is one of our teachers, that within the lodge, all the dancers are to be First Nation. And they either First Nation or Métis. They have to have proof if they, you know, because there's a lot that aren't. And that's, everybody's welcome to come. And the reason why is because the lodges are for our people. The songs are for our people. The instruments that were given with the creation stories are for our people. Encourage passing those teachings and bundles on to our children, our grandchildren, the ones that are here and the ones that are coming, and to keep things sacred and to protect them. Everybody's welcome. They can come in and there's different jobs that people can do. Like, I have had a few people that were white ladies that were mad at me because they couldn't dance at our lodge. And they called us racist and swore at me right in there. And I told them those are the rules that were told, that with the bundle, with this lodge, there's different rules, and that is one of them. They have to be First Nation. And also that the dancers have to fast and drug and alcohol free. We've had some people be upset with us, and that's fine. It is what it is, and we do have to protect the sacred, and that's, you know, but everybody is welcome. And a few times we have had to, because one of the instructions also were to have like security, people to keep things on track on the outside of the lodge. And the reason for that is because sometimes people would come in and maybe they'd be on the outside and we're inside the lodge, so it gets busy. And so the ones on the outside kind of keep track of how things are going and to inform us if there's things going on that, people are extremely triggered or something going on. For example, we did have one situation where there was a young man who was a helper of an elder, and that elder was, he's actually in the penitentiary right now, and has been charged, I think, 16 different counts of sexual assault for sexually assaulting women and children in ceremonies. And so one of his helpers showed up there, and some of the women and her children, they had come and told one of our helpers on the outside that this is the guy that brought me to this elder. And they had told us and informed us. So we had went in the other Tipi, in the boss Tipi, and went and talked with the chief and the Sundance chief, Bill, and Itacha John. And I explained what was going on, and I told them we have to protect the lodges, and people come to ceremonies and lodges to heal, not to become triggered and not to become traumatized. And so we have to protect the lodges. We have to protect the well-being of the people who come there to heal. And so once I told them that, our Chief John Waditaka, he had got worked up, and he dances with the community, which is good. And he got riled up, and you know what, we need to go and send this guy out of here right now. And no, this can't happen. And so they wanted to bring him out and let the people know that you can't do that. You can't have ceremony and abuse people in those lodges. You have to protect the lodges. You have to protect the people at all times. There's no looking the other way. You can't cross those lines. Those are sacred laws that come from Creator. When we sent out some of the aunties, we have security. They don't wear vests or anything. They're just deadly aunties and deadly kushis. And so we had sent them to go bring him so we could expose and let the people know what was going on a little bit. And they went walking towards him, and that guy ran his vehicle and took off. So that was that. He didn't come back. But we talked to those ladies and told them, like, what happened to you should have never happened. You should be loved, cared for, come to places to heal. And when you're here, that won't happen to you. We're protected, you're protected, your children are protected. And so things like that are very important to share and address also. Go back, and so for the beginning of the TVs, that started from a dream that I had. And I dreamt about these grandmothers came in, and they had showed me just like really quickly how the teepees were made and how they're structured, and everything happened so quickly. And the spirit of the home, that teepee, and everyone that comes into that teepee, into the home, that's who is protected and cared for and loved of all your closest. And so within every home fire, the ones that are in there, they're your world. And so within that teepee, that home fire, those poles that go around there, doof, 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 those represent the spirit. And they're male and female. And some are male on this side, male, female, male, female, male, female, or male, female, structured together. They make it work. They have different jobs, different duties, responsibilities. and together they keep that home fire structured properly. And that rope that ties it all together, that's the umbilical cord connecting right back to your mother. And when it comes to the Tipi and that umbilical cord, there's also different explanations. Like some of the lodges, for the Lakota, Nakota, Dakota lodges, they have ropes that are tied to the tree, and those ropes also represent that umbilical cord being connected right to your mother, and that recharging when you're connected, rebirthing. When you're in that teepee structure, you're protected. You're right back in the womb of your mother, and that grandmother is the one that protects you, along with the grandmothers and the grandfathers, keeping you safe. And then inside that teepee is the fire, and that fire spirit in the spirit world at the top. When the poles are like this, the spirits can see through there and come in through those poles. They're called through that fire. That fire is like, in the spirit world, they can see that fire. So any ceremony you go to, there'll be a fire. There'll be a fire for those offerings to be put into that, to keep things sacred, to keep them balanced, and to also acknowledge and welcome in the spirits to come in and to bless things, to keep things on track. And so with that dream that I was shown, everything happened so quickly, and I went and I sat with my late Kushi and I told her the dream and explained what had happened, and I wrote it out, and she told me, you have to write it out, you have to draw it out. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then I told her, I don't want to do this, it's too hard. She's like, well, sometimes when you don't do things, the spirits show you, you make things harder for your children or your grandchildren. And when you're shown things, you're being gifted something. So listen to what the spirits are showing you. See what they're showing you. Make it happen. And so we started. And it was really tough. It was hard. You know, our kids they were small, a lot younger, and our youngest is 15 now. He was like, I think 6 or 7 or 8. I don't know. He was just little, like a little tiny guy. And everybody sewed. Everybody had a job to do, a responsibility. The measurements have to be accurate, and when you do things, it just has to be right. And so when we draw it and measure, we know if it's a little bit off, you know, so we'll have to redo, and then, okay, you guys, we gotta do it again. And so practice. It took a while to get it, and it took a real team effort. And my kids would be all working, and people would come visiting, and it would look like a sweatshop in my house, a little trailer when it started. And they'd be like, what the heck, your kids just all sew? And I was like, yeah. But they'd be paid. If they come to the gym with me, then I'd give them what I could. And when I started, it was like, whoever comes with me, they get $50 a night to come and help me cut out and draw and measure and cut, you know, because it's a lot. But we structured it. And so a lot of the different processes that we've learned took a lot to figure out. I had to learn how to operate an industrial machine, real big, huge machine. And those needles, they're so heavy duty, that machine, like they could go right through your bone. So you have to be like, just cautious. Just like if you're driving, you know, you can't fall asleep because you'll crash, right? You gotta really pay attention. And so learned that, and the other machines, figured it out. And same with wall tents. The first one that we cut out was stolen. We don't know who, and it doesn't matter. But someone come into our home, and they took our wall tent, they took our template, machines, a lot of tools, chainsaws, all kinds of stuff, pow outfits, clothing. They took a lot of things, and even kids' clothes. And it was odd, but whatever. sometimes things like that do happen, and you just have to keep going, even if it hurts. Just pick yourself up and dust yourself off, shake it off, keep going. So yeah, the teepees, wall tents, and now we're going from making teepees and fulfilling that, going into a bigger size wall tent, something that's big enough to fit like a sweat lodge in for the winter. That's the project I'm working on for our personal home, but we'll post pictures, videos eventually. Also getting more into like the designing side of things. So this shirt I'm wearing, this is my first trademark design that I got trademarked from my lawyer, because when you go into business, you need to know how to protect yourself. It's very, very important. So I strongly suggest anybody who's getting into the business world to do a quick deep dive of your local lawyers, people that can help. You go on your phone for everything, anything, and everything and anything is online. So it is important to protect yourself before you launch, to get things in place so you're protected, because there's things that happen in this world where people steal your merchandise, your property, your creations, your creativity, your designs, like whatever. People do, and that's sad, but it does happen, and you need to protect yourself. And even if they still do it and you're trademarked, your copywritten, like your work, social media will be in your favor as long as you have your own backstory of where that came from. Like for instance, this design, I'd gone fasting years ago, and I had dreamt about this particular design, and that it was to be used on my son. His name is Elijah, and he's also one of our young knowledge keepers for the community, and also a strong advocate, role model for a lot of youth. He works with the youth right now in Enoch. He's one of their land-based teachers, instructors, and encourages different teachings of wellness, health, traditional teachings, medicines. But for this particular design, the spirits came and showed me the design, and that it was to be used as a protection, and it's to go on my son. And I told him this dream, and he's like, wow, that's amazing. And I'd asked him, would it be okay if we trademark this design and use it as a protection for the people, for everyone? Would you be okay with that? And he's like, yeah, that's actually pretty awesome. And so we seen a lawyer and got set up, and that's how the story behind it. So everything that you do, it's important for the story behind the scene, and to understand a little bit deeper of, things are not just what they seem like this lip oil right here. This has a story. Everything has a story, and the stories are really what people will remember and connect with. I had gone to school. I had taken a graphic designing course about 5 years ago in Edmonton, actually, and it was pretty awesome. I loved it. It was interesting, learned a lot, and just to build the skills, gain the knowledge of how can I put something from paper onto a digital file, because I had no idea. Like, I could sit there and draw for hours, and you get lost in a world of art and creativity, and your mind just kind of takes off on you, and it's pretty intense and pretty amazing. And you need to be in a good headspace to get into that, and just, kind of like wild. It's kind of wild. So it is a beautiful process, and to make sense of things. But for everything that does have a story, there's different things that we're going to be working on future-wise. For myself, since I was small, I was raised by my grandmother until I was, I think, 11. And when I was 10 years old, I started sun dancing. So Peyton, of all places in the world, but it was beautiful. She was just like, hey, let's go, we're gonna go dance. Like, okay. So I did, not knowing what I was getting myself into, but I'm glad I did. But since I could walk, she would take me to different elders, and they would teach me different medicines, and this is what this is what it's for. This is how it can help you. This is how it can help people. And sitting with different knowledge keepers and elders and being grateful, forever grateful, because they had shared a piece of them that is remarkable. I can remember being a little kid and going to different spots, and this is what this is. It's still here and it's still growing, and this is who taught me. And I take my kids and show them different medicines, and throughout the years we've gone all over and gathered different medicines, and be shown from different dreams to like different medicines that were being a location, and I'd never gone there before, but I'd kind of know the location, so I'd go look and I'd find it. And at first I'd be scared, like, what the heck is happening to me? I'm crazy or something. So I'd go talk to my kushi and I'd cry, and she'd tell me, that's a good thing that they're showing you. When they show you the medicines, go and listen. If you don't know what they are, learn what they are, understand what they are. Because a lot of things that we knew that we were trained to do when I was a child, I'd be taken on the hills with my mom, my grandmas, my aunties, and they would sing and they would gather medicines and they would talk to each other and they would do different things with each other. And when I was taken, all that went away. And so when you go, I'm starting to remember now, you're going to go look for this, and she'd write a list like a treasure hunt. I'd have to go and find these different medicines. I'm like, what is this? And I'd have to go, and a lot of times I wouldn't know what I'm looking for, but I'd go and I'd find different things, and whatever we'd pick with our family, we'd bring back to my late kushi, and she would motor pipe her chanupa, and she would pray with those medicines for 4 days, and then we'd have a meal, and she'd feed the medicine spirits, and she'd pray. She'd ask that her children, her grandchildren, her daughters, her grandchildren that are here and the ones that are coming, that they'll love who they are, and that they'll learn the medicine, they'll learn the teachings. And so throughout the years, we'd go, and within our family, everybody has different bundles that they carry, which is beautiful. And we help each other in different ways. And a lot of our family pick different medicines. Some of them pick medicines, some of them will clean the medicines, but it's a big responsibility to sit there and harvest. You have to have time, be dedicated, and have the strength to do what's needed to be done. And before, a few years ago, COVID happened. And so when that sickness came, when I was a child, and when my grandmother, our aunties, uncles, my mom, they'd be told there's sicknesses that are coming. Get ready. Pray for the water. Start getting ready. Protect the water. Protect the land. Protect those medicines. Learn how to protect yourself. Sickness is coming. Get ready.